The great hall of the Galactic Council shook as another star system went dark. Hana pressed her blue fingers against the control panel, watching the holographic map show their defeat in real time. Red dots spread across the galaxy like a disease. Each dot meant billions of dead. "How many more?" she whispered. Day looked up from his command station. His crystal skin reflected the red warning lights that filled the room. 17 systems lost in the past week. The Vorth are moving faster now. Around the massive circular table, representatives from dozens of species sat in stunned silence. They had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They had built cities that floated in space and ships that could cross between stars in days. They had made peace between worlds that had fought for centuries. But none of that mattered now. The Fourth were winning. Inho floated in his water-filled chamber, his tentacles moving in slow patterns that meant deep worry. Our combined fleets cannot stop them. Every time we fight, we lose more ships. Every time we retreat, they consume another world. Mina spread her wings wide, a sign of fear among her bird-like people. What about the weapons from the old wars? The planet killers we banned? Already tried, Day said, his voice flat. The Vorth eat energy. Our most powerful weapons just make them stronger. Hana had seen the reports. The Vorth were not like any enemy they had faced before. They were insects the size of ships, with minds connected to a single queen. They did not want territory or resources in the way other species understood. They wanted to consume everything, planets, people, even the rocks and metal of dead worlds. They turned it all into more Vorth. There must be something, Mina said. Some weapon we have not tried. Some ally we have not called. The room fell quiet. Outside the great windows, they could see the lights of the capital world. Millions of beings lived there in peace. Soon, those lights would go out forever. Inho moved to the center of his tank. When he spoke, his voice was so quiet they had to lean forward to hear. There is one option. What? Hana asked. The humans. The word hit the room like a bomb. Several representatives stood up in shock. Others began talking at once. Mina's wings flapped in panic. Absolutely not, Day said. We quarantined them for good reason. They are monsters, Mina added. Death worlders, from a planet that should have killed them. Hana had read the files. Every member of the council knew about Earth and its people. They were the only intelligent species to evolve on a death world, a planet so dangerous that most council members could not survive there for an hour. Poisonous air, deadly weather, predators everywhere, and diseases that could kill in days. The humans had not just survived, they had thrived. They had covered their world with cities and weapons. They had split the atom and reached their moon using primitive rockets. They had created art and music and poetry, but they had also created ways to kill that shocked even the council's military experts. We contained them 300 years ago, Hana said. The quarantine barriers have held. Because we were afraid, Inho replied. We saw what they could do to each other, and we decided they were too dangerous to contact. Day pulled up the old files on his screen. Look at this. They fight wars for ideas. They kill their own species over resources and territory. They have weapons that could destroy their entire world, and they built more than one. But they also build hospitals, Inho said quietly. They write music. They take care of animals that serve no purpose except to make them happy. They are not just killers. They are exactly what we need, said a new voice. Everyone turned. Kisu, the representative from the Outer Rim worlds, had been quiet during the meeting. His people lived on the edge of known space where pirates and raiders were common. They understood violence better than most council members. The Vorth are killers, Kisu continued. Perfect killers. They know only how to consume and destroy. We have tried to fight them with the tools of civilization, strategy, technology, cooperation. But civilization has rules. The Vorth do not. What are you saying? Mina asked. We need something without rules. Something that understands that sometimes to save life you must be willing to destroy it completely. Hana felt sick. You want us to unleash them? The humans? On the galaxy? I want us to survive, Kisu said. The Vorth will be here in 6 months. Our fleets will not stop them. Our worlds will burn. Our people will be consumed. But maybe, the humans can do what we cannot. The debate went on for hours. Some argued that asking the humans for help was the same as destroying themselves. Others said that being destroyed by humans was better than being eaten by the Vorth. A few suggested that maybe the humans had changed during their isolation. Finally, Inho called for a vote. All in favor of breaking quarantine and requesting aid from the Sol system. Hands, claws, tentacles, and wings rose around the table. Hana counted them twice. The vote was close. Closer than any in Council history. But it passed. And if they refuse to help? Day asked. Then we die with honor, Inho said. And if they agree? Then we live with the consequences. Hana began, preparing the message. It would be sent on a drone ship that could cross the galaxy in days. The message itself was simple. They were under attack, they were losing, and they needed help. They would include all their data on the Vorth, their technology, and their current military situation. What they would not include was the real reason they had quarantined humanity in the first place. Not just because humans were violent, but because they were too good at it. In 300 years of galactic peace, the Council had almost forgotten what real war looked like. The humans had never forgotten. As the drone ship launched toward Sol system, Hana wondered what they had just done. They had spent centuries keeping humanity locked away from the galaxy. Now they were inviting them in. She looked at the tactical display again. More red dots appeared as she watched. The Vorth were coming, and nothing in the galaxy could stop them. Nothing except perhaps the one species that might be worse than the Vorth themselves. The message raced across space toward a small yellow star and the third planet that orbited it. On that world, billions of humans lived their lives unaware that their galaxy was dying. Soon, they would know. And then the galaxy would learn what humans could do when they had a reason to fight. Hana hoped they would all survive to regret this decision. Jiwan stared at her computer screen and rubbed her tired eyes. She had been working the night shift at the radio telescope for 3 years, listening for signals from space. Most nights she heard nothing but static and the background noise of the universe. Tonight was different. The signal was strong and clearly artificial. It pulsed in patterns that no natural source could make. More importantly, it was directed at Earth. Someone, or something, was trying to talk to them. Dr. Park, she called to her supervisor. You need to see this. Dr. Park hurried over, his coffee mug still in his hand. He looked at the readings and nearly dropped the cup. Call everyone. Wake them up if you have to. And get me a line to the government. Within hours, every major nation on Earth knew about the signal. Within days, teams of scientists had decoded enough of it to understand the basic message. The signal contained what appeared to be a universal translation system, more advanced than anything humans had ever imagined. The message itself was simple and terrifying. We are the Galactic Council. Our galaxy is under attack. Billions are dying. We need your help. Tejan stood in the Pentagon briefing room, looking at screens full of alien data. As head of Earth's military planning, he had prepared for many possible threats. Alien invasion was on the list. Aliens asking for help was not. Show me again, he said to Soman, his intelligence officer. Soman clicked through the files. The translation software they sent us is incredible. We can read all of this now. They call themselves the Galactic Council. Dozens of intelligent species working together for thousands of years. And they are losing a war? To something called the Vorth. Look at this. The screen showed images of the enemy. They looked like giant insects, but made of metal and flesh combined. Their ships were not built, they were grown. And they were huge. Each of those ships is the size of a city, Soman continued. They travel in swarms of millions, and they do not just conquer worlds, they eat them, everything. The rocks, the water, the air. They turn it all into more Vorth. Dr. Yun, the team's alien expert, pointed to another file. Look at the council species. Every single one evolved on what they call garden worlds. Perfect climate, no dangerous predators, plenty of food and water. Paradise worlds, Tejan said. Exactly. They never had to fight for survival the way we did. Their wars were small and polite. When they could not win, they negotiated. And the Vorth? Do not negotiate. Cannot negotiate. They are a hive mind, focused only on consumption and growth. Tejan studied the tactical reports. The Council had superior technology in almost every way. Their ships were faster, their weapons more powerful, their computers more advanced, but they were losing every battle. They fight like they are trying to win a sporting match, he said finally. Rules of engagement, minimal casualties, surgical strikes. While the Vorth fight like they are trying to eat the universe, Somin added. The door opened and Jiwan entered with another team member. As the person who had first detected the signal, she had been brought in to help with communication. We have been talking to them, she reported. Their ambassador is something called a Kelvari. She seems nice but scared. What does she want? From us? Military assistance. They want us to send ships and troops to help fight the Vorth. Taijun almost laughed. Our ships? We barely have technology to reach our own moon reliably. That is not what they want, Dr. Hyun said quietly. Look at this part of their files. He showed them a classified council document about Earth. It was marked with warning symbols that needed no translation. They know about us, Dr. Hyun continued. They have been watching us for centuries. They know about our wars, our weapons, our history. They are afraid of us, Somian realized. Terrified, Dr. Hyun confirmed. To them, we are monsters from a death world. We fight constantly. We build weapons that could destroy our entire planet, and we keep making more. But they need monsters. Now, Tejan said. The files contained detailed analyses of human military history. The Council had studied every major war, every weapon, every tactic humans had ever used. They were particularly interested in what they called total war, the human concept of using every possible resource and method to completely destroy the enemy. They have never fought that way, Jiwan said. Even when they are losing, they try to minimize damage and preserve life. Noble, Tejan said, but stupid when facing something that wants to eat you. Over the following weeks, more messages came from space. The situation was getting worse. The Vorth had consumed 20 systems and were moving toward the Council's core worlds. Military projections showed complete defeat within a year. The Council was offering everything, technology, resources, alliance, in exchange for human military assistance. They were even willing to break their most sacred laws about sharing advanced weapons with primitive species. President Kim called for a meeting of the world's leaders. The decision was too big for any one nation. They want us to go to war, President Kim said to the assembled leaders. A war in space against enemies we have never seen for people we just learned exist. But if we refuse, Prime Minister Yang added, they all die, and eventually these Vorth might come here. And if we agree, President Williams said, we get access to technology that will advance our civilization by centuries. General Morrison, speaking for the military alliance, was direct. We can help them. Everything I have seen suggests that our approach to warfare is exactly what they need. The question is not whether we can win, but whether we should. Meaning? Meaning that once we show the galaxy what humans can do in a real war, we cannot take it back. They will never see us the same way again. The debate continued for days. Some argued that humanity had a duty to help when genocide was happening. Others worried about the consequences of becoming involved in galactic politics. A few suggested that this might be humanity's chance to take its place among the stars. Finally, the vote was taken. It was not unanimous, but it was decisive. Earth would answer the call. Taejun began planning the largest military operation in human history. Ships would have to be built, weapons prepared, and soldiers trained for combat in space. The Council had promised to provide the basic technology needed to reach the battlefield. As he worked, Tajan wondered what the galaxy would think when they saw what humans could do when they were really trying to win. The council thought they were calling for help from monsters. They had no idea how right they were. Admiral Junho stood on the bridge of the Indomitable and watched the stars change. 6 months ago, he had been planning Earth's defense against possible asteroid impacts. Now he commanded the largest war fleet humanity had ever built, heading toward a battle that would decide the fate of the galaxy. The human armada was not beautiful like the sleek council ships. The vessels were angular and brutal, covered in armor plating and weapon systems. They had been built for one purpose: to kill Vorth and survive doing it. "Status report," Junho ordered. Minho, his tactical officer, checked the displays. "All ships reporting ready. We have nuclear torpedo batteries online, kinetic bombardment systems charged, and chemical weapons loaded." "And the special packages?" "Ready for deployment," confirmed Yuna from the psychological warfare station. "Though I still think some of these ideas are insane." "Insane is what we do best," Junho replied. The fleet had trained for months using council simulations of Vorth combat. What they learned had shocked their alien allies. Council forces fought like they were participating in a complicated dance. Organized, predictable, and focused on minimizing casualties. Human forces fought like they were trying to end the universe. The first engagement came near the edge of what had been Kelvari space. Long-range sensors detected a Vorth feeding cluster, thousands of bioships surrounding a planet they were slowly consuming. "Council doctrine suggests we wait for reinforcements," Minho reported. "Council doctrine is why they are losing," Junho said. "All ships, attack formation. We go in fast and we hit them with everything." The human ships accelerated toward the Vorth cluster at maximum speed. Council observers aboard the command vessel watched in horror as the humans ignored every standard tactical principle. Captain Jinhua commanded the destroyer Retribution at the front of the attack formation. She had studied the Vorth files for weeks and noticed something the Council had missed. The bioships always tried to surround enemies and drain their power slowly. They were not prepared for opponents who wanted close combat. "All weapons, continuous, fire," she ordered. "Target their feeding clusters. Do not let them coordinate." The Retribution plowed into the Vorth formation like a missile. Its armor was scarred and burning within minutes, but Jinhua kept pushing forward. When the main engines failed, she switched to maneuvering thrusters. When those died, she used the ship's rotation to aim the remaining weapons. "Captain," her weapons officer called, "we are dead in space. Orders?" Jinhua looked at the tactical display. The Retribution was surrounded by Vorth bioships trying to drain its power. Standard procedure was to surrender or evacuate. "Ramming speed," she said. "Set the reactor to overload on impact." The Retribution's final flight took 17 Vorth bioships with it. Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out. Human captains used tactics that no Council military academy had ever taught. When outnumbered, they did not retreat. They charged. When surrounded, they did not surrender. They exploded. When their weapons failed, they turned their ships into weapons. The Vorth hive mind had evolved to fight predictable enemies. It could calculate the probable actions of Council forces and respond perfectly. But human actions often made no logical sense from a survival perspective. Commander Gina led a team of combat engineers aboard the carrier Devastator. Her job was to analyze Vorth tactics and develop countermeasures. What she created terrified even her own people. "It is simple," she explained to the other officers. "The Vorth expect us to avoid their strongest positions. Instead, we make them think they have us trapped. Then we spring the trap on them." Her minefield designs did not just block enemy movement. They herded Vorth ships into carefully prepared kill zones. The mines themselves were not just explosives. They were psychological weapons that disrupted the hive mind's coordination. "How?" asked Ambassador Hana, who was observing human tactics for the Council. "We make them angry," Gina said. "The hive mind stays calm when everything goes according to plan. But when we do something completely unexpected, it has to reorganize. During that reorganization, individual bioships become vulnerable. The human approach to warfare shocked everyone who witnessed it. Where Council forces tried to disable enemy ships, Humans tried to completely destroy them. Where Council forces attempted to minimize collateral damage, humans maximized it to create fear and confusion. But it worked. After 3 weeks of fighting, the Vorth advance had stopped for the first time in over a year. Human losses were enormous. Nearly half their ships had been destroyed or severely damaged. But they had achieved something no Council force had managed. They had made the Vorth retreat. Day observed the human tactics from the Council command ship. As a military leader, he understood strategy and logistics. What the humans were doing should not have worked. They fight like they do not care if they die, he said to Hana. They do care, she replied, but they care more about winning. How can they sustain such losses? Because they know that losing means extinction, not just defeat, complete annihilation of their species and everything they care about. The psychological profiles of human soldiers amazed Council analysts. They fought harder when things seemed hopeless. They became more dangerous when cornered. And they never ever gave up. Captain Nari commanded the stealth ship Ghost Protocol. Her mission was deep reconnaissance behind Vorth lines. What she found changed everything. The Vorth are not just consuming our galaxy, she reported. They are running from something else. The intelligence data she gathered showed that the Vorth were refugees. Something in the void between galaxies had driven them out of their original home. They consumed everything in their path because they were trying to build enough strength to survive whatever was coming behind them. It does not matter, Admiral Junho said when he read the report. They are still trying to eat our galaxy. We still have to stop them. But if we destroy them, we might be destroying the only thing that could fight the real threat. Then we will deal with that threat when it comes. Right now, the Vorth are the enemy. The human fleet regrouped and prepared for the next phase of the war. They had proven they could fight the Vorth and win. Now they had to prove they could save the galaxy. As the ships moved deeper into Vorth-controlled space, Junho wondered what they would find at the end of this war. The humans had come to save the galaxy, but they were changing it in ways no one had anticipated. The Council had called for monsters to fight monsters. They were getting exactly what they asked for. The Vorth home cluster defied imagination. Siwan stared at the long-range sensor readings and tried to understand what she was seeing. Dozens of star systems had been completely consumed and rebuilt into a single massive structure. Planets had been hollowed out and turned into breeding chambers. Moons had become weapon platforms. Even the stars themselves had been modified to provide power for the enormous biomechanical complex. "How many of them are there?" asked Admiral Junho from the command bridge. "Millions of bioships," Siwan replied. "Maybe tens of millions. And that is just what we can see on the surface." The combined Council and human fleets had assembled at the edge of the cluster. Every surviving ship from dozens of species floated in formation, preparing for what everyone knew would be the final battle. They were outnumbered by at least 1,000 to 1. "Council forces are requesting final battle plans," reported Minho. "Tell them to make noise and try not to die too quickly," Junho said. "We need them to draw attention while the real mission happens." Captain Nari checked her equipment one last time. The stealth ship Ghost Protocol had been modified with the most advanced cloaking technology the Council could provide. Her mission was simple in concept, impossible in execution. Penetrate the heart of the Vorth complex and destroy the Queen Mind. Team. "Status?" she asked. Kiwan, her demolitions expert, patted the massive explosive device they had built. Nuclear warheads, antimatter charges, and a few surprises the Council probably does not want to know about. If this does not kill the Queen Mind, nothing will. Damon sat at his computer station, fingers dancing over alien controls. "I have been studying Vorth biotechnology for months. I think I can interface with their systems long enough to find the Queen Mind's location. And if you are wrong, then we all die horribly and the galaxy gets eaten." Nari appreciated his honesty. The plan was desperate, built on incomplete information and hope. But it was the only plan they had. The main battle began with a coordinated assault by every ship in the Allied fleet. Council vessels used their advanced energy weapons to strike at the outer defenses. Human ships charged directly into the Vorth formations, drawing massive retaliation. The carnage was immediate and terrible. Vorth bioships swarmed the attacking fleet like antibodies fighting an infection. For every Vorth ship destroyed, 3 Allied vessels were lost. But the humans kept attacking, kept pushing forward, kept making noise. "It is working," Minho reported. "Vorth forces are concentrating on the main fleet. The stealth ship has a clear path." Ghost protocol slipped through. The chaos like a shadow. Nari piloted the ship through passages between massive biostructures, following the route Damon had calculated. The scale of the Vorth construction was overwhelming. They were not just in a star system anymore. They were inside a living creature the size of multiple solar systems. "I am picking up massive energy readings ahead," Damon reported. "That has to be the Queen Mind." What they found was beyond their worst fears. The Queen Mind was not a creature. It was a planetary organism that had absorbed the matter of entire worlds. It pulsed with bioelectrical energy, coordinating the actions of billions of Vorth across the galaxy. "Jesus," whispered Kiwan. "How do we kill something that big?" "Very carefully," Nari replied. "Damon, can you interface with it?" "I think so. The biomechanical connections are similar to what we have studied." "But Nari." "What?" "I am detecting something else. The Queen Mind is not just controlling the Vorth, it is remembering something. There are massive data stores here, memories going back millions of years. Can you access them?" "Maybe. But it would mean connecting directly to the Queen Mind's consciousness. That could be dangerous." The main battle was going badly. Even as the humans fought with desperate fury, the Vorth numbers were overwhelming. Ships were dying by the hundreds. "Do it," Nari ordered. "We need to understand what we are fighting." Damon connected his interface to the Queen Mind's biomechanical systems. The connection was immediate and terrifying. Millions of years of memories flooded through his consciousness. He saw the Vorth's original galaxy, a place of beauty and diversity. He saw the arrival of something from the void between galaxies, ancient predators that consumed not just matter and energy, but consciousness itself. He saw entire civilizations disappear, not just killed but erased from existence. "They are refugees," he gasped. "The Vorth used to be peaceful explorers. The void dwellers drove them out. Everything they have done, the consumption, the expansion, it is all preparation for the void dwellers' arrival." "When?" Nari asked. "Soon. Maybe decades, maybe less. The void dwellers follow prey across intergalactic distances. They are coming to this galaxy because the Vorth led them here." The Queen Mind became aware of the intrusion. Through Damon's connection, it began to communicate. Not in words, but in pure concept and emotion. It showed them the approaching darkness, the creatures that ate souls and left empty husks behind. It pleaded for understanding, for cooperation, for anything except destruction. "It wants us to join with them," Damon translated. "To become part of the hive mind so we can fight the void dwellers together. And if we refuse, then it will consume us anyway. It believes that is more merciful than what the void dwellers will do." Kiwan looked at his explosives, then at the readings showing the approaching enemy fleet. The main battle was nearly lost. Soon, Vorth reinforcements would find their hiding place. "I do not care what it believes," he said. "I care about survival. And right now the Vorth are the immediate threat." "But the void dwellers," Damon began. "Are a future problem," Nari interrupted. "We deal with current problems first." She gave the order. Kiwan activated the explosives. The Queen Mind in its final moments sent one last desperate message through Damon's connection. It showed them star charts marking the void dwellers' approach route. It provided data on their capabilities and weaknesses. It begged humanity to prepare for what was coming. Then it died. The explosion tore through the heart of the Vorth complex. Without the Queen Mind's coordination, billions of Vorth bioships became confused and directionless. The hive mind that had threatened the galaxy collapsed in minutes. But as the Ghost Protocol fled the destruction, Damon stared at the data the Queen Mind had given them. The Void Dwellers were real, they were coming, and they were far worse than anything the galaxy had faced. "What do we do with this information?" he asked. Nari looked at the reading showing the complete destruction of the Vorth complex. 13 star systems had been sterilized. Trillions of bioships were dead or dying. The immediate threat was over. "We prepare," she said, "and we make sure humanity is ready for the next war." As they rejoined the surviving fleet, Nari wondered if they had just saved the galaxy or doomed it. The Vorth were gone, but the greater threat remained, and humanity would have to face it alone. The rebuilt council chambers felt different now. Hana looked around at the familiar curved walls and floating platforms, but everything had changed. Where once there had been elegant discussions and careful diplomatic language, now there was fear. Fear of the humans who had saved them. Admiral Junho stood in the center of the chamber, still wearing his battle-scarred uniform. Half his face was covered in synthetic skin from injuries sustained in the final assault. His left arm had been replaced with mechanical parts. He looked like what he was, a warrior who had fought monsters and won. "The casualty reports," Hana said, her voice barely above a whisper. 60% of the human fleet destroyed or damaged beyond repair," Junho replied without emotion. 800,000 military personnel dead. 13 star systems sterilized in the final operation. The numbers were staggering. Any other species would have considered such losses a catastrophic defeat. The humans called it victory, and "The Vorth?" asked Inho from his water tank. "Extinct. Completely. We made sure of that." Day studied the tactical reports displayed on his crystal tablet. "Your methods were thorough." "Our methods were effective," Junho corrected. "The galaxy is safe from the Vorth. That was the mission." Mina ruffled her feathers nervously. "But the cost was acceptable," Junho finished. "We knew the price when we agreed to help." Yuan, Earth's new ambassador, stepped forward. She was younger than the previous diplomats, but her eyes held the same hard edge that marked all the humans now. The war had changed them. "We kept our part of the agreement," she said to the assembled council. "We eliminated the threat. Now, we want to discuss terms for the future." "Terms?" Hana asked. "The Void Dwellers are coming. Our intelligence estimates less than 50 years before they reach this galaxy. When they arrive, you will need our help again." The council members looked at each other uncertainly. They had read the reports from the final battle. The data recovered from the Queen Mine showed an enemy far worse than the Vorth. Creatures that consumed consciousness itself, leaving only empty shells behind. "What do you want?" Inho asked. "3 things, Yewin said. "First, full membership in the Galactic Council. No more quarantine, no more restrictions on human expansion." "Agreed," Day said quickly. After what humanity had done, refusing them membership would be both foolish and impossible. "Second, command authority over all military forces when the Void Dwellers arrive. No committee decisions, no diplomatic delays. When the next war comes, humanity leads it." The chamber fell silent. What Yuan was asking for was unprecedented. No single species had ever commanded the combined forces of the galaxy. "You want us to give you control of our armies?" Mina asked. "I want you to survive," Yuan replied. "Your approach to warfare does not work against existential threats. Our approach does. Choose." Kisu, representing the Outer Rim worlds, spoke up. "What is the third condition?" "Access to all Council technology. We need to upgrade our capabilities to face the Void Dwellers. In return, we will share our military innovations with the galaxy." Admiral Junho activated a holographic display showing human weapon designs. The council members looked at the schematics with a mixture of awe and horror. The humans had taken council technology and made it deadlier in ways no one had imagined. "Some of these designs violate our laws of war," Day pointed out. "Your laws of war assume your enemy follows rules," Junho said. "The Void Dwellers do not. When they come, you will need weapons that can kill gods." The debate that followed lasted for hours. Some council members argued that accepting human leadership was the same as surrendering their independence. Others pointed out that independence would not matter if they were all dead. Finally, Hana asked the question that everyone was thinking. What happens if we refuse your terms? Yuan's expression did not change. Then when the Void Dwellers arrive, we will evacuate our allies and leave the rest of you to face them alone. You would abandon us? We would save who we can and prepare to fight from a position of strength. Sentiment is a luxury we cannot afford when facing extinction. The cold logic of the statement silenced the chamber. This was not the human plea for acceptance they had expected. It was an ultimatum delivered with quiet certainty. Day realized the truth first. You are not asking to join our civilization. You are telling us to join yours. Your civilization created paradise, Admiral Junho said. Beautiful cities, peaceful cooperation, advanced technology. But paradise only exists in the absence of threats. When real danger comes, paradise falls. And your civilization? Created survival. We learned to fight, to sacrifice, to do whatever was necessary to continue existing. Paradise is a luxury. Survival is a necessity. Yuan gestured to the displays, showing the approaching Void Dwellers. In 50 years, everything you have built will be tested. Your art, your culture, your philosophy, none of it matters if you are dead. We are offering you the chance to live. At what cost? Hana asked. At the cost of becoming something harder than you are now. The galaxy you knew is gone. The enemy that killed it is coming for this one. You can adapt, or you can die. Those are the only choices. The vote, when it came, was not unanimous. Several species abstained, unwilling to accept human leadership but afraid to refuse it. But the majority voted in favor of all three human demands. As the council session ended, Hana approached Yuan privately. Are we doing the right thing? You are doing the necessary thing, Yuan replied. Right and wrong are concepts for peaceful times. We are not in peaceful times anymore. Will you protect us from the Void Dwellers? We will teach you to protect yourselves. The galaxy that emerges from the next war will be different from this one. Harder, more dangerous, but it will be alive. Hana looked out at the lights of the capital world, where trillions of beings lived their lives in comfort and safety. Soon those lives would change. The humans would bring their technology, their methods, their approach to survival. The galaxy would become more like Earth. Dangerous, competitive, but resilient. What if the Void Dwellers never come? She asked. Yuan smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Then you will have spent 50 years becoming strong enough that nothing will ever threaten you again. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Admiral Junho looked back at the council chamber. One last time, they had come here as the galaxy's saviors. They were leaving as its new masters. The council had called for monsters to fight monsters. They had gotten exactly what they asked for. Now they would learn what it meant to live in a galaxy ruled by monsters who had learned to call themselves protectors. The war against the Vorth was over. The preparation for the next war was about to begin. And humanity, the most dangerous species in the galaxy, would make sure the galaxy was ready. Whether the galaxy wanted to be ready or not.